All right, well, welcome back, everyone. Of course, they want to, well, like myself, have a nice garden, have a nice yard, and that's, of course, always the envy of the neighborhood. Every month, our friend Perry Stothart from Classic Landscape and the Ellerslie Gift and Garden drops by with some great tips and tricks, but we're, of course, still very much in the grips of winter, although spring is just right around the corner. So to make your indoors the envy of the neighborhood, if they can see through the windows, we've got some beautiful flowering plants here today, Perry. I mean, where would you like to start? They're all so beautiful.
Well, I'm going to start just to my right here. I think one of the plants, the pink flowering one, is an azalea, the rhododendron and azalea family. And for those of us that know we have shrubs outside in the spring, they'd be one of the very first ones to flower. Obviously, we've started this one indoors, and it can be kept as an indoor plant as well. But the bright pink flower, there's quite a range of flowering plants. They are the first ones. We talk about the spring and trying to get out of the doldrums of winter. Having azaleas or rhododendrons in the yard is a great way to start. One of the things to consider about them is if you're going to plant them outside, make sure that they're in a little bit of a shadier location. They tend to like the more acidic soil, so you can add things like compost, peat moss to the soil. Our soils around here tend to be a bit more alkaline, meaning more basic, higher pH. So when we can add things, sort of an ideal pH is going to be sort of below that neutral 6 to 7, 7.5 at most. And so they're a great choice. I grabbed a couple of the Bromeliads because they just look so cool. And these are these tall stalks and just an amazing looking flower. You know, bracts that you see. Basically, the leaves will form this shape and then create some great color. Again, a talking point. They're actually related to pineapples, if you can believe it. I wish I was going to talk about how we could grow pineapples.
There's no fruit, though.
No fruit. We can't grow pineapples in Alberta, like if you didn't know that already. But again, bring some really cool impact. They're really easy to take care of, which is something that's always something we like to highlight when we're talking about indoor plants. They actually, the way the leaves form to the base, they actually create a little cup or tank, and you actually just water by filling up the leaf base, and it actually percolates down in. With a lot of tropical plants, and it's not this way with them all, but a vast majority, I would say, typically that we bring out, they don't want to be sitting in water. And so we have medium, we don't have heavy soils, we'll have things like fir bark and lighter mixes so that the roots can dry out. Because if the roots sit in water, they'll tend to rot. It's not healthy for the plant. It'll show in the plant, and you'll struggle to keep them surviving. But again, neglect is the name of the day, and that's usually good for most of us when we talk about caring for plants, and they can do very well.
The easier for me, the better.
Yeah, so just right here in front of you, the tall one is a Phalaenopsis orchid, and I bring that in because they'd be the most popular orchids, I would say. Generally, people have seen those. They're easy to take care of. Also called a moth orchid just because of the shape of the flower. And again, a really nice, impactful plant. Helleborus are these few colors in front of it. Again, they're an earlier flowering plant. They're not going to survive our winters, but again, we keep them indoor plants, or like a lot of plants that maybe won't survive our winters, they definitely can survive our summers. So these are plants you could move outside as the weather improves, just again, add more pop.
If you're moving plants indoors and outdoors, including, the more tropical ones that you can plant, if you're going to leave them in the pot, sort of when's the best time to move them out if you're not planning on planting them?
Yeah, for us, that May long weekend is still sort of the unofficial gardener's weekend, we'll call it. Frost is an issue for these plants. They can handle some colder temperatures because you'll get that even in tropical locations, not as often, mind you. But the issue is you really want to get past those frost danger zones. So later May is fine. Typically we get those long summers, which is great for a lot of these plants. And you can plant them in planters, or sometimes people will keep them in their pots and just, again, add some, color to your outdoor living spaces, the decks areas, those sorts of things.
While we still have a few seconds left, I do want to talk about these two in front of us because they're rather striking.
Yeah, just a couple. We have a Paphiopedilum orchid. So these are a couple different kinds of orchids. So this one is, again, easier to take care of. It's a burgundy flower. If you want to branch out from the Phalaenopsis orchids, you can look at that, or the Rossio glossum is another one. This one's called the Rod and Jester that's in front of me. Again, just a cooler looking plant, will open up, kind of get a bit of a stripe look, something that's a bit different, still easy to take care of. And of course, like you see, we have an orchid pot. They want air through the roots. They're of that variety of sort of air plants like Tillandsia and some of the others where, again, it's important it's not a heavy soil, nice, loose. A lot of times we'll use fir bark and things like that. And even in nature, you'll see them sometimes growing on other plants, not just in the ground, is typical for them as well. So.
Well, definitely have some browsing to do to figure out how to make my garden look a little nicer this year. Perry, thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
Of course, for more great ideas on how you can check out Classic Landscaping, or for more great ideas, you can check out Classic Landscaping and, of course, Ellerslie Gift and Garden. They are located at 100th Street and 6th Avenue. For more information, call 780-988-9888 or visit them online at either classicgardens.ca. You can also follow them through their Twitter handle at Classic Landscape. That's SCP. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break.